Hey, everybody, and welcome to your weekly Nintendo News Roundup live, reaching every week. The All-In Crew breaks down the week in Nintendo news. Hey, Eric.
Hey Seth, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right, and you?
Doing good. Got my Friday night coffee. It's America weekend. I'm here enjoying my freedom.
That's true. You know what? PSA, I guess, maybe we should just say this right out front. Eric and I both live in the southern United States. It is very likely that fireworks will still be happening, even though the 4th of July was last night. I guarantee you at some point tonight while we're recording this news roundup, you will hear fireworks outside my window. So just PSA there.
Yeah, I give it about a 50-50 chance that a firework actually shoots through my window.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would make for an interesting news roundup.
That's true. We have a breaking story.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, breaking news. Eric's condo is on fire because an errant firework made its way in there. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, we do have some news to, we took the week off last week because there wasn't too much to talk about last week. We do have some stuff to talk about
Some
this
stuff, yeah.
week. Well, yeah, it's a big week for small news, as I like to say. But before we get into that, we have a very important matter of business first, Eric.
Yes, very important matter of business first. Arguably the biggest matter of the week.
That's right. Thanking our patrons. We kick off the show each and every week by thanking the wonderful friends and supporters at patreon.com/allinpodcast. Starting with our Golden Banana tier, thank you to Rob Yapel, Sean O'Baggins, Ashton, Tim A, aka NeoPrime33, aka Nintendo Dad number 4, Phelan Ward, Bill Tucker, Marcus O'Neill, Liam D, Gamer Jason, Andrew Wilkins, Alan, #Look to the Cookie, SAZ, and blah blah blah. Big thank you to our Golden Banana Bunch. You can get a 7-day free trial to that tier and see what all the fuss is about for yourself for free for 7 days. But moving into our Triforce tier, thank you to Josh Vaughn, the godfather of Tingle Love Tuesday, John Datfast Cummins of the Retro Logic podcast, as well as the On Topic Retro podcast, the Globetrotting Jet Set Nintendo Hub and Sparky of the Nintendo Hub right here on YouTube, Adam Caparello of the Retro Groove podcast, Shy Guy, the other half of our Shy Guy mod squad, thank you Shy Guy, Danilina Hosa, Dan and Luma, Bowza, the Keeper of the Hugs, the Don Rob, Foolish Fuji, the Koala from Down Under, and the legend himself.
The legend himself, the fireworks display to end all fireworks displays, Uncle Randy.
The firework that will destroy Eric's condo, Uncle Randy. Thank you very much.
That's a heck of a thing to put on a resume.
Thank you very much to all of our supporters on Patreon. We appreciate you. It's obviously a great way to support the show. Throw a few bones our way for our hard work. Another great way to do that is to pick up some merch. Eric's popping the collar of his All-In polo there. Allin.media. You can get yourself one of those polos over there and support the show that way. If you don't have any bones to throw away, that's okay too. You can support us just by leaving a 5-star review if you listen to us on your audio feeds, on whatever podcatcher you use, or if you watch us on YouTube, your likes, your subscribes, your comments, and all of that stuff. Very, very appreciated and very, very free. Eric, let's talk about the news, shall we?
Free, indeed. I mean, I'm enjoying my freedom. How about you, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, it beats the alternative.
I suppose that's true, but we are certainly free enough to be able to talk about some of the wonderful happenings going on within the world of Nintendo this week. So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about something free. Let's talk about a free update, Eric.
Yeah.
A free update to the game that Nintendo would like us to believe that they stopped supporting like months ago.
I have a huge...
I mean, they said... like what, last November or something, like, yeah, there will be no more additional content updates or major updates, they said. No further. Oh, an Echo?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, I don't know what to do about that. Well, it's they said no more major updates coming to F-Zero 99, and well, now they have a big update coming.
I can't wait. It looks really cool. I don't know where they got that keycard from.
Oh, the keycard. Yeah, I don't know. They made it, I guess. I guess they made it just for this. Hey, I'm gonna try to fix whatever echo you got here. But here, does this fix it? Let me know if this fixes it. I'm gonna try to see if that you still hear anything?
There we go.
An echo. All right, cool. Yeah. So
sorry about that, folks.
All good. We I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what did that. I literally just did the classic like unplug it and plug it back in, and that worked.
There we
So
go.
whatever. We got a new update for F-Zero 99. Pretty cool. This is a massive update. They have added Star Rivals, which is adding like classic rival characters from
Yeah.
F-Zero, kind of like joining in on the race, which is cool. Festival tracks. Like, apparently, I didn't play yesterday, but apparently, if you played during 4th of July yesterday, there were like fireworks
Yeah.
on the track. It's
Yeah.
cool.
That's one of the things that they were talking about in this update. A lot of the stuff does have to pertain specifically with the 4th of July event that's going on right now. They talk about the Star Rivals, Captain Falcon, and others, as you can see there, as part of the imagery that will now appear in the races next to you, which is, I mean, really cool. They're continuing to support this game at a fairly significant clip. They came out and explicitly said there would no longer be any more quote unquote significant content updates added to this game. I would argue this is fairly significant
I would too.
because, I mean, it's, you know, in past updates, they've actually added new tracks, new cups, and stuff like this. But still, I mean, this is nothing to scoff at. New events, actually adding in classic characters into the races, new achievements, and you know, as you can see there at the right, especially if you're watching the video version of this, you know, expanded team battles. So, like they're continuing to add a significant amount to this game, a long way past its launch.
Yeah, and like emotes, which is like a significant amount of functionality to be able to use little emotes when you're playing and new achievements to unlock and stuff. I mean, this seems like a pretty major update to me. And I mean, what I'm here for it. Like, I'm glad that Nintendo is still supporting it. It's a far cry from, you know, some of this other stuff. It's a far
Yeah.
cry from like Mario 35, for example,
Yeah.
where it's like, how about we just kill this? And this game's still getting updated, and I love to see it. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, if this were a priced DLC, I mean, you know, I'd probably have a little bit more to say about the size of it and about whether or not it is a significant amount of content. But I mean, as far as free content that we're getting for a game that has already been said to be basically done with its development, this was a very welcome surprise for the 4th of July weekend.
I keep expecting them. I keep expecting to stop hearing about F-Zero 99.
Because they said
And-
we would. For all
Yeah,
intents and purposes, they said we would.
Yeah, and
They said it was basically just
keep
going to be like
trucking.
bug fixes, tweaks, you know, balance patches and stuff like that. It's like, no, we're just going to continue to include more stuff in the game, more content, more functionality, expanded functionality. So, I mean, again, this is certainly not going to be something I'm going to complain about.
No.
And it really warms my heart the fact that they are taking a property that has been so historically underutilized in the past 20 years and
Exactly.
actually supporting it. I mean,
So what Sam says here in the chat, for as long as F-Zero was dormant, this is a nice change. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, completely agree. You know, it's one thing to do with Super Mario 35 that existed essentially only as a limited time thing to go along with the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers, but you know, to bring back F-Zero in this way, I mean, you could, I mean, I've hesitated to really call F-Zero 99 a new installment in the franchise, but at this point, I mean, you kind of have to think about considering it that, don't you?
I mean, yeah, it is kind of a new installment. It's definitely its own thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely earning its own place. And what I hope is that, you know, like there's some level of like, you know, love for this game, and people are coming out and Nintendo is supporting it. It makes me hopeful that like maybe there's a little bit of a heartbeat to do either something new
That's
or
what I'm
like
saying, yeah.
GX port or something. That would be very nice.
Somebody at Nintendo is championing F-Zero, and whoever's doing that, tell me their name and their address, and I'll send them something pretty.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, we also saw the return of Nintendo Treehouse, not Nintendo
live.
Treehouse Live. Yeah, not live this time. It was a pre-recorded Nintendo Treehouse showing off the upcoming later this month Nintendo World Championships NES edition, and it was just kind of I just kind of like it when Nintendo does this.
Yeah.
Not like a ton of like new reveals or anything with this. It's just kind of nice to see a bunch of people hanging out and playing it.
Yeah. So for like This video was a tale of two halves for me. For the first half, they showed off essentially a lot of stuff that we already knew. They have the speedrun mode here that they showed off that has the 150 challenges between the 13 games. You've got this World Championship mode, which is essentially just a short little weekly challenge that you can jump into. And then survival mode, which is kind of a pseudo battle royale thing. You actually download ghost data from other players and battle against that. It's not an actual live battle royale functionality for the game, which did disappoint me a little bit. However, they also showed off the party mode, where they had all four of the people sitting there on the couch play against each other in a Mario Kart style circuit. And I say Mario Kart because the scoring is very similar to and they specifically compared it to Mario Kart in the video. The scoring is very similar to like a Mario Kart scoring. As you see there, the people who finish the challenges first get a certain number of points. I think 15 for first, like 12 for second, 10 for third, and 9 for fourth, or something like that. And then they just go through a circuit of challenges, and then the winner is the person who comes out with the most points. And it was fun. I didn't really see a lot of this beforehand, so I was like, oh, this could be cool if I ever somehow am able to play this with friends, because there is no online functionality for this aspect of the game, unfortunately. The online functionality seems to be limited to the ghost data that you download for the survival mode and the weekly challenges. However, there was one thing about the game that they hadn't really talked about too much that did finally get me really excited to check this game out. We had known about all the challenges within this game, and they had vaguely talked about how they varied in size and scope and complexity and difficulty. And a lot of the ones that we saw here in the first half of the video were just that. It's, right now in the video, it's get a power leaf as Super Mario Brothers 3 Mario, or kill a hammer brother in Super Mario Brothers 3, or literally just pop a single balloon in Balloon Fight. Things that take seconds. Actually seconds. And again, they spoke in vague terms about it. Was like, well, there'll be some more complicated things. But in this video, we actually got an idea of the end scope of that complexity and that kind of difficulty tier. For every game, for all 13 games in this collection, there is apparently going to be a legend challenge that you can take part in. And for Super Mario Brothers, it's literally beat the game as fast as you can. And not only beat the game, but they actually take you through the actual speedrunner path. They force you to go down the speedrunner path. And as you can see there, if you mess up, if you fall into a hole, or if you get killed by an enemy, instead of dying and restarting, you just kind of do a quick rewind to where you were a few seconds ago. But these legend challenges for each of these games, that makes me really interested to see the size and scope of them, because they actually had a race between two of the people sitting on the couch to see who could beat Super Mario Brothers the fastest, and these two were clearly not professional speedrunners. And it was actually really fun to watch them, keep dying and keep making mistakes back and forth and keep trading the lead. But after 5.5 minutes, it literally came down to a tenth of a second.
Yeah. So, and this is not, you can't do this online though, right? This is this head-to-head here is only local. Yeah, unfortunately, the head-to-head, the party mode is all local. There's not currently a directly competitive online mode. There is, again, missing. Yeah, that's absolutely what it's missing. But I will say these legend challenges make me really, really interested, finally really interested to get my hands on this game, to actually tackle those, the complexity of those types of challenges in this, to see, what something like the legend challenge for Legend of Zelda 2 could be, because they actually showed off your boy Horsehead in this video as well. I know you love Horsehead. Yeah, big fan of Horsehead.
We may be talking about that later on this weekend. But they showed off a ton of challenges, but again, just seeing that the Legend Challenge for Super Mario Brothers is just beat the game, actually start to finish, beat the game, really makes me interested to see what other types of this level challenges the game is also going to have to offer finally.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, for me, like
Thank you,
I
Lockwood. Thank you for
yeah,
liking the
thank you
stream.
for liking the stream, Lockwood. Appreciate it. Yeah, if this had like if this simply had more direct online functionality, I think I'd be
Yeah,
much more excited about
which is
basically
fair.
all of this.
Yeah,
But at the same time, this is a $30 little thing.
yeah,
So I think for the scope of what it is, like I get it. I get them not wanting to maintain like dedicated servers and stuff for this, you know.
yeah,
But it's also the kind of thing where like I feel like that would be the thing that sells me. I don't know if any of this is selling me in particular. I'm also going to be curious to see what the post-launch support, if there is going to be any, will be for this game. So
yeah.
we'll see. I'll keep my eye on it. I'm not disinterested in it, but I'm also not sold yet either.
Yeah.
So
Admittedly, I wasn't really sold in the first half of the video. Everything they showed off, I was like, I feel like I've seen everything that the game has to offer in the first half of the
sure.
video. When they did because even the weekly challenges is just a combination of a couple of the events, a couple of the challenges that are already in the game, just a random smattering of those, just seeing how fast you can beat those. And it's just kind of like a weekly time. It reminds me a lot of what they did with WarioWare Get It Together. And
Right.
I did a couple of those weekly challenges, but after a couple weeks, I just kind of fell off. They didn't really grab me the way I think Nintendo was hoping. And I'm getting the same vibes kind of from that. And also the fact that the whole, the survival mode, the pseudo battle royale mode, the fact that it's not live, it's just downloaded ghost data, and it doesn't honestly seem super difficult.
Right.
This couch full of people who is again clearly not professional speedrunners, they were able to beat the silver and gold modes of the survival mode without much difficulty. So it doesn't seem like for people who are looking for a challenge out of this game, like that's going to offer them much. But when they showed off the idea of the legend challenges, that's when my ears perked up. I was like, oh, here's a reason for me to actually want to put this game in and play it. But unfortunately, that's kind of it. I agree with everything you said about more direct online competitive and cooperative functionality.
Well, they had you with the collector's edition regardless. They had your sale the second they announced that collector's edition. We all know that.
I mean, I don't deny that.
No, we all know that. Well, don't
I'm such a sucker for dumb stuff like that too, man.
well, don't be taking it out in public in the UK, Eric, because you
I
might
know,
just
right?
get arrested if you do that. Bringing out don't go brandishing your gold NES cartridge out there in public, smacking people in the face with it. This poor guy got sentenced to 4 months in prison over there in the UK for having this little 6-inch Master Sword replica that he said that he uses as like a kind of fidget
Fidgets.
tool.
That's not
Yeah.
the best argument, man. It's like, and
Yeah.
it looks like it's just, I don't know how sharp it is. You can't really tell how sharp the 6-inch replica Master Sword is from just the photo that we're seeing. But it looks to me like it was just made as a letter opener or something.
Right.
I can't imagine they took something like that and cared enough to give it a legitimately sharp edge.
No,
it.
I don't think so either. Letter opener, I think, is probably exactly what this is.
Yeah.
And he didn't hurt anybody, so
No.
like 4 months to me is super excessive
Yeah.
for the severity of this crime or whatever. I'm not a legal expert. I don't know how the law is there, but I just thought that was such an odd story coming out of
Yeah.
the UK. Get this dude being sentenced to 4 months in prison for a little Master Sword that he had on him.
Well, there's a tiny bit of context that makes me understand it a little bit more.
Okay.
Apparently, they caught this guy. I can't remember the name of the town center or whatever, but apparently there was a young man who actually lost his life due to an incident with a knife recently in that town center.
Sure.
So, according to the police, at least, that was part of their consideration for what they were doing. And I guess it is just blatantly against the law to carry a knife that large or a bladed instrument that large in public. I think there's concessions for like 3-inch bladed pocket knives based on what I saw, but you know, a 6-inch Master Sword replica, that'll get you 4 months in the clink.
Apparently so. Eurogamer reported on the story here. They say officers explained that despite this being the intended purpose, the fidget toy being the intended purpose, the blade, quote, was in fact a sharply pointed item which could be used as a weapon and might put others in fear of it being used against them. Bray, the arrestor, or the arrested, maintained he would not have used Legend of Zelda sword replica as an actual weapon. Bray did, however, acknowledge it could have been perceived as threatening. Quote, we take a zero tolerance to bladed articles in public, and Bray has fallen afoul of this. It is possible to find fidget toys that aren't 6-inch blades. It is possible not to walk down the street holding them out in front of you. With a bit more self-awareness, Bray could have avoided contact with us completely. So, Lachlan says they just wanted to confiscate it for themselves, which might also be
completely
true.
Completely agree. Arresting officer was clearly a Tears of the Kingdom fan. But yeah, the argument that I'm carrying this around as a fidget toy to have something to do with my hands, I'm like, there's, I mean, millions of things that you could do that is probably better for something like that. I certainly wouldn't. If I had something like that, I wouldn't just be carrying it around in public willy-nilly with a chance that I could like drop it or damage it, or, you know, somebody could, you know, some young kid who's a Zelda fan would come up and try to swipe it from me. I would come up with something better to do something with my hands if I really required to have something in public to keep my hands busy.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal, man. Like, I'm not saying make him pay a fine, which he does. He has to pay 154 pounds. So like make him pay a fine or whatever, give him a slap on the wrist. I'm just saying that 4 months is crazy. Now, I don't know if he also has some sort of record or something like that. Who knows? But it was a very odd story that came up this week.
Yeah, little reported fact about that. He was caught with a super mushroom a couple of years ago in public. So
oh yeah, that'll do it.
It's the second offense, apparently.
He was all hopped up on super mushrooms, and that takes 7 years to get that off your record, man. Aye.
But only one hit from an enemy to remove the effect.
Yeah. Well, quick little PSA here. Nintendo has officially discontinued repair support for the Wii U in Japan. This is the last market they were still servicing the console in. It's been true. They haven't serviced Wii U's here in Europe for a while now, but Japan was kind of the last vestige. They said last May that they would be doing this when they ran out of the necessary replacement parts, and that has finally happened. Nintendo announced on Twitter with the NCL Japanese Nintendo Twitter account, like, hey, we're not doing this anymore, effective immediately. So,
wah wah.
Yeah. So, Japanese Wii U player, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's a lot of proprietary parts in the Wii U, and I don't know how many third-party outlets, I don't know how efficient they're going to be at being able to repair those, but I would like to not just think that all the current Wii U's on the market now are just on a timer at this point in terms of their functionality. Because, you know, yes, it's a much maligned console, but there's still reasons to own one. There's still a lot of fun that you can have with a Wii U. And when it comes to like the retro market, like it's so easy to get a pin connector for an NES at this point. There's a lot of people that do their own upkeep and maintenance on classic video game consoles. So I hope that this same kind of market starts to blossom for the Wii U now that kind of all of the official channels of maintenance have closed.
Yeah, and there's been some stories going around recently of like, hey, if you still have a Wii U, make sure to power it on, you know, once in a while, because apparently some of them have been bricking. Like there's some sort of like thing within the Wii. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it needs some sort of a power charge every so often to maintain it. So there's been some people who are like, oh man, I haven't turned on my Wii U in like forever, and I went to turn it on and it doesn't work anymore.
Yep.
So yeah, that's worth notating. If you're a Wii U user, you might want to plug it in and make sure it still works.
Yeah.
So there was that little story, and then a couple little pieces of news, couple bit of Lachlan says, I didn't know that, better use it this weekend. Hook it on up, turn it on just to make sure, just to be safe.
Yeah.
Give it a little bit of a power charge there.
A lot of people still have a ton of virtual console classics that they have downloaded on their Wii U that they could lose if they just don't play it every once in a while.
Oh yeah. A little bit of news coming out of Anime Expo this week, specifically as it relates to Falcom games. The Ease series got two announcements, Ease X Nordics. We knew this was getting localized. We got the
Yeah.
announcement of it being localized earlier this year, but it now has a release date of October 25th. Very excited to finally get this over here, fully
Yeah.
localized, and can't wait to play it.
Yeah. You're a relatively new East fan, aren't you, sir?
Yeah, I discovered Ease. I played it for the first time late last year with Ease Origins and loved it, and I'm excited to play this one.
Nice.
So, yep, that's getting localized finally here in the States. In addition to that,
That was what you said, October 25th?
October 25th for Ease X. In addition to that, early 2025, we are getting Ease Memoir: The Oath in Felghana. This is a sort of like remake of Ease 3, which is widely considered by many fans to be the best in the series. And this one has been available over in the East for a long time on the Nintendo Switch, and it kind of seemed there's a lot of like licensing mumbo jumbo going on with it. And for a long time, it was assumed that we were never going to get it over here. So the announcement that they're publishing this and localizing it for the West early next year is very exciting, and it looks like it just is in the same like engine as Ease Origins. Like this looks just like Ease Origins. So I'm really excited for this.
It looks dope. It looks really cool. Looks like the perfect kind of throwback. Really reminds me of a lot of the old PlayStation 1 and N64 era games like this, like the Sagas, the Star Oceans, a lot of those, kind of 3D real-time / turn-based style RPGs as they were, kind of starting to expand the ideas of what RPG combat mechanics could be. Looks dope.
Ease has always been good about that. Ease has always had a very unique, like their combats. It's like an arcadey RPG. It's very fast. It's very like fluid. It's like it feels like an arcadey JRPG, and they're all sort of like that. It's really cool, really ahead of its time. Both of these are getting physical releases, and Ease Memoir is both of them really are getting collector's edition releases as well. For those who are into that, you can go to the website and order those now, which is cool. So good to get physicals for these.
That Ease Memoirs does look really cool. I'm not gonna lie. And you said it's just like Ease Origins, or yeah,
Yeah, the like style of it, the
yeah.
actual like visuals and like the perspective of it, the way it looks and feels and plays it looks just like Ease Origins. So yeah, I would
Strokes
recommend
fear in
anybody,
interest.
and you should play Ease Origins, because Ease Origins is, first of all, it frequently goes on sale for like between $5 and $7. You can even full price. I think it's only $20. I highly recommend it. I loved it.
Nice.
So it's great. It's a great jumping on point for the series too.
And Sam in chat says the OG East 3 was really weird. Plays more like Zelda 2 than anything. Honestly, that's more of a reason for me to check it out.
Yeah. Well, this one is quite a bit different. This one's a lot more like fast paced. You can get those old like original versions of some of the early Ease games are actually on Nintendo Switch. They like the Egg console or whatever. They've released like those original versions on there, not like the sort of redone versions that you can get on Steam or like this, but the original versions you can play on Nintendo Switch if you want to.
Nice.
So. Very cool. Well, let's hit some of these notable releases. I think, inarguably the biggest notable release of the week was actually 7 notable releases.
I didn't want to say anything, but did I just have a feeling on Wednesday. I was like, I know we just got a couple really big NSO updates. I know we got a big one for the Nintendo Direct that released, the two mature games and then, the other stuff. But I had a feeling about this 4th of July week, and there's already so much other stuff going on. We've already reported on some of it, but I didn't expect 7 new games being added to the NES, though. I did not expect to get, this was a platform that I really and truly thought that Nintendo had basically done everything they wanted to do with it. But here we have seven brand new, well, I say brand new, seven new releases to the NES NSO, and crucially, two more rare games
That's right.
have been added: Cobra Triangle and Solar Jetman. We're halfway to having a rare replay at this point on the Nintendo Switch,
Close to it.
but just having even more rare titles coming over. I mean, obviously, with the addition of things like Perfect Dark and Killer Instinct, the much more kind of high-profile rare games, the headline-grabbing rare games, yes, those are big deals. But this just speaks to, I think, how deep that potential partnership is going. It's not just the big ones like Conquer. It's not just the big ones like GoldenEye 007. It really feels like, excuse me, it really feels like anything from Rare's back catalog is on the table at this point for Nintendo. So I think the inclusion of Cobra Triangle and Solar Jetman in this 7 are a bigger deal than people realize, but it's certainly not just those two.
Yeah, the full list is Urban Champion, Golf, Donkey Kong Jr. Math, Mock Rider, The Mystery of Atlantis, Solar Jetman, and Cobra Triangle. That's the full list of NES games, and yeah, some pretty exciting stuff on here. I'm most excited about this Donkey Kong Jr. Math.
Are you really
excited about that? That's just a fun, weird little game. I kind of just like that that's on NSO now.
Yeah.
So
it's a low-key really good collection of games. I think there's going to be something here for just about everybody. And me being the fighting game aficionado that I am, I'm certainly happy for the inclusion of Urban Champion, especially with it being kind of one of the progenitors of this, of the entire fighting game genre. I will say it's not necessarily one that I would recommend if you're looking for fighting games on NSO, but I am happy for the sake of inclusion and preservation, for the sake of history, that they did finally put this on NSO where it belongs. And I'm also super glad that Golf has finally become an actual proper inclusion and not just an Easter egg on the Nintendo Switch.
yeah, that's true. So pretty cool little batch of. I mean, I do like that. It's funny that there was a time when we were all like, "Oh, Nintendo just casually shadow dropping like 2 or 3 games on these apps." Well, how about 7? How about 7 games? Enjoy that. So
big week for NES titles. Obviously a lot of the headlines have been around the Treehouse and the upcoming release of the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition and the 13 games that are going to be available in that package, and then Nintendo casually dropping 7 more NES games this week. I certainly didn't expect to have so much NES love for the 4th of July weekend from Nintendo, but I mean, here we are, and I don't hate it.
yeah, me either. Well, for those of you who are not yet too annoyed by Suika Game, there is a summer update now available for Suika Game that adds some new content to the game. Really some new like visual, skins and overhauls and stuff like that. And from what I have been told, actually by Locklith, who's in the chat watching, apparently they added like an option, like a menu option for like the music, but it's still just the one song. So, there is that. That's neat.
Yeah.
New stuff for people who still play Suika Game.
Speaking of Locklith in the chat, Viva Pinata, yes, please. Yeah, I would love to have Viva Pinata come to other platforms. That is a low-key amazing game from Rare. But they mentioned in this Suika Game advertisement where they announced the new skins and the fact that they did get shadow dropped, they see right here, as a matter of fact, exclusive animated background and BGM.
Yeah.
And BGM. So yes, it would be nice to actually be able to change up that music, because as nice as the music is, it does make you want to hurt something after the 4th or 5th loop.
Yeah, it certainly does. So
you have first-hand experience with that.
Yeah, try hearing it for like 5 straight hours at Extra Life, and you might develop a little bit of a distaste for Suika Game yourself. But it's cool. It's neat that they continue supporting it. The artwork is really cute,
Oh
and
yeah.
apparently you actually have to like unlock it in some kind of way. Like it's not just all available from the start. So that's kind of neat too. I'm sure my wife will probably play this, but I avoid Suika game like the plague ever since Extra Life of last year. I'm good. I have my fill for forever. So so there's that. We also really the last like big thing I wanted to flag here was speaking of Falcom actually, the new Legend of Heroes game Trails Through Daybreak came out, and this is getting really good reviews. I know Matt was texting me earlier today. He played the demo and loved it.
Really?
So there's been some really rave reviews. I mean, this series has been going on for forever,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of huge fans of this series. So this is like the latest localization over here, and people are loving it, man. Apparently, it's really good.
Well, that's one of the
So
things about the Trail series. It seems like we get a new one every other month or so, but they generally get pretty well reviewed, like around an average of 8 out of 10 on Metacritic. So even though they come out at a pretty steady clip, they seem to be fairly quality experiences. And there's a lot of really big hardcore fans, and it's getting more of them here in the West. I have no clue how they're able to release these games as often as they do, but the fact that they're able to with apparently a consistent amount of quality is incredibly impressive.
well, I'll tell you how they do it. They do it by keeping their budgets modest and by keeping the scope of their games modest too. Apparently, and I've never played one of these, but this is true of Ease certainly, which is also a Falcom game. Like the Ease series is kind of known for being like smaller scale, the kind of RPG
Yeah.
you could really comfortably play through in 30 to 40 hours versus 80 to 100, you know? And that's the same here from what I understand. These are sort of like 20, 30, 40-hour RPGs that are not massive open worlds or anything like that. It's like we're maintaining a smaller scale. We're able to make them more quickly, and we're able to manage the quality a little bit better too. And I think that it's worked out quite well for them.
Hey, I
So
mean, more power to you. I mean, this is something that we've said. I mean, ad nauseum. I feel like we've beaten this dead horse so many times. There's no horse left. But yes, especially with our time commitments and with our lives, if you tell me that it's a game that I don't have to spend 100 hours on, that's a selling point for me.
yeah, and I mean not only that, but the sequel to this was just announced like earlier today at Anime Expo.
Of course.
So like the new game just came out today, and then the sequel was announced at Anime Expo with a trailer. Trails from Daybreak 2. So, I mean, yeah. So, and apparently, from what I understand, this is a good jumping on point for the series because it's like a new kind of like individual arc, I guess, within the Legend of Heroes. So,
Okay.
it actually seems like a good place to start if you've never played a Legend of Heroes or a Trails series game. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
because this
interested.
one, yeah, this one will be coming out clearly at the end of July. So
Yeah, probably. Yeah, this is like early 2025, I think they said for this. So, yeah, man, it's kind of neat. Like if you're a fan of this series, you are eating pretty well. So,
yeah,
shout outs to Falcom, man. Falcom has had a very very good week. We also had a little update to Nick Brawl. Rocksteady was added
yeah.
to All Star Brawl 2.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was about to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was looking for a little footage of him or something, but yeah, that was also released this week too. If you play that game.
Yeah, I love what Game Mill and I love what Fair Play Labs has done with the Nick All Star Brawl franchise. I have not played Nick All Star Brawl 2 on Nintendo Switch.
I
When the
have.
game you have,
Yeah.
well, you about to say I know when the game came out, it was in pretty bad shape on the Nintendo Switch. So I don't know how much that has improved, how much that situation has improved, but
Don't recommend it.
fair enough. But on other platforms, yeah, I'll be more than happy to check this out on the PlayStation 5. And even the first one, Nick All-Star Brawl, is still more than worth playing on Nintendo Switch, especially after all the free content that they've added. And I love that metallic skin. I love that robot skin for Rocksteady in this game. But
Yeah.
But if you only have a Nintendo Switch, if you only have that way to play it, then Rocksteady is Earth. I mean, even if you don't have a Nintendo Switch and you still continue to listen to us, first of all, thank you. But that's available on whatever system you have it for.
It's a cool
But
game. It's a
yeah.
really cool game. It genuinely is. But yeah, I don't know that I'd recommend the Switch version.
But one last thing that I'm going to touch on real quick. A lot of people, I think, are probably going to be spending a lot of their 4th of July weekend on the F099 kind of summer festival event, and fair enough. However, if you're still out there and you're still playing Endless Ocean, there's another event dive going on this weekend for Endless Ocean. So I'll probably dive into that a couple times this weekend myself. But if that's a game you still own and you're still interested in, they've got an event going on for from the 5th through the 8th.
Nice. Very good. Well, yeah, we have some Endless Ocean players in our Discord, so that's a free, friendly, and welcoming Discord community. Links are in the show notes. So yeah, jump on in and play some Endless Ocean if you're an Endless Ocean fan. But
Yeah.
I think that's what we got. I think that's it for this week.
I mean, we still got fireworks probably. So I'm
Hey,
surprised we haven't had any yet.
I was gonna say you just jinxed it, man. 'Cause
I
so
know.
far it's been
I
good.
did. I know I did. But whatever you guys are up to this weekend, however you guys are celebrating, whatever you guys are playing, thank you so much for spending part of your weekend with us. And do make sure to reach out to us on Facebook and on Twitter at All In Podcast. Make sure to join that Discord that Seth was just talking about. We would love to have you jump in over there, jump into some Endless Ocean, jump into some other games. Also, make sure if you're watching us here on Twitter or on YouTube, go ahead and like the stream and go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss another video from us here at All In Media. Tons of content dropping each and every week. First looks at up-and-coming indie titles, a weekly series that we do called Quarter Circle Forward. Seth is currently streaming a Pokemon Nuzlocke. Tons of stuff going on that you won't want to miss. So again, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit the bell for all that good YouTube stuff. But in addition to all of that content, our podcast, our weekly news roundups, all the videos, we still somehow find a way to create exclusive content for those patrons we shouted out at the top of the show.
We do. Patreon.com/allinpodcast. Check us out over there. You can get a 7-day free trial to the Golden Banana tier and see what all the fuss is about. There is exclusive content that goes up there every single week, podcasts, videos, and more. Early access to Bit Harmony, another show on our network. So really worthwhile value to check out over there on Patreon. And yeah, pick up some merch, allin.media. Great way to support the show as well. If you watch us on YouTube, like Eric said, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. We really appreciate it. Leave comments if you're watching the VOD. Rate the show 5 stars if you listen on your audio feeds. That is very quick, free, easy, and appreciated. So thanks for doing that.
Yes, thank you to everybody who has done any of those things, to everybody who has become one of our legendary patrons, to anybody who has even just picked up a piece of our merch at allin.media, to anybody who's dropped words on whatever podcasting service you happen to follow us on, or for anybody who has even just shared our content across this vast internet of ours. To each and every one of you, we would like to extend a 4th of July namaste of freedom.
Namaste. Yeah, the namaste of freedom. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Locklith, Sam, y'all were both here in the chat tonight. We appreciate you very much. On tomorrow's episode of the show, we've got a few things happening. We have, in honor of 4th of July, an indie showcase on Broforce, which is like 4th of July, the video game, essentially.
Yeah.
And then we're doing the top 5 games for our own Nintendo World Championships. Eric and I have created our very own list of games and challenges to construct our own Nintendo World Championship. So that's a really fun top 5. And we have an interview with Bubsia, who tomorrow is going to be running a blindfolded Super Mario 64 10-star randomizer speedrun as part of SGDQ. And we got to interview him about that earlier this week ahead of his run, about what it's like to play Mario 64 blindfolded.
And be one of the best in the world at it.
And be the best in the world at it, period.
That's true.
He holds the world record, and that dude has done a 120-star run of Super Mario 64 blindfolded, which is insane.
The only person on Earth brave enough to actually complete it.
Yes. So SGDQ is going on right now, twitch.tv/games done quick. You can tune in, you can donate to MSF and support. And yeah, Bubsy's run will be going on tomorrow, as will our episode be happening tomorrow. So tune into that. We appreciate your continued love and support, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.